All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 2017 annual meeting of Forest Creek Golf Club and Forest Creek Investors. We have a formal part of the meeting which we will get out of the way first, which will be the election of officers. And at the end of that, we will actually adjourn that meeting and then go to an open session. So the first thing I'd like to recognize our board, which is scattered throughout. Larry Crisco, raise your hand. Andy, raise your hand. George is right here. Stan somewhere in the back of the room. He said, oh, okay, he's over here. And then also, of course, our general manager, John. So we're all here. And so the board the nominating committee has come together, and there are 3 people nominated for the board of directors. The first one is myself to fill out a board seat through the year 2018. Also, we have Kermit Moser somewhere in the room. I saw him right in the middle of the room, and Jay Howard back here on the left. They will be coming in, or they have been nominated to fill the seat, a 3-year term expiring in 2020. These members are the nominees from the nominating committee. I ask if there's anyone that would have another nomination. There being no other nominations, I'll ask for a motion to close the nominations. Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, so the 3 members, Jay and Kermit and myself, have been nominated to fill these terms. We're going to go into, we do have a quorum. Is that correct? Oh, I'm sorry. There's ballots out in the room that we're waiting on. So, if anybody else that hasn't voted,
if any
FCI members that have not voted for the board of directors. So we've got a couple of ballots, so we'll wait for a few minutes. Got ahead of myself. Also, if there's for any reason that you have voted and you'd like to change your vote, you can also do that at this time. So we're going to have a little lull in the program for 5 or 10 minutes while the votes are tabulated. Does anybody else need a vote, a ballot? Any other votes outside? Raise your hand, just let me know if you're working on one. We officially do have a quorum, and the vote has passed. The new members are now in place. We're going to go into a segment where we're going to do some questions about Forest Creek Golf Club and FCI. And I've got a list of them here somewhere. Somebody got them. I'll open the floor right now. Questions on Forest Creek investors or for the golf club? I'll open the floor for it. All right. If there are none, I'm going to read some. These were sent in electronically, and so in full disclosure, we'll try to answer them. Is the current offer subject to an exclusivity arrangement? The answer to that is yes, it was. The exclusivity of it expired December 1st. Second question, has the board sought any third-party engagement to find solicit offers from other parties? No. Has there been any unsolicited contacts of people interested in acquiring Forest Creek Golf Club? Yes, but there were none official. We did get an email that was signed with a somewhat of an offer on it, but we didn't consider it an official offer. Why does the valuation seem to be fair market when Dormy recently transacted for $7 million? I don't know what all was included in the Dormy deal. I do know there was a lot of real estate and a golf course, but that's all I can tell you. I had nothing to do with it. It appears that Colony 9 is purchasing the club for approximately $6.2 million, while there is belief that the club may be worth more than $9 million. Why the discount? There is an appraisal that will be on the website. I think it'll be posted probably this afternoon, which is a current appraisal that was done by the bank, and they required us to do it to keep our revolver. So it is their appraisal. The discount, you could go into a lot of stuff talking about what the price is and what's fair market. I'm not sure that I can give you the exact number as to what that would be. It could be anything. The problem is it's the offer that we have at hand. and it's it's the offer that we're bringing to the club. What is the normal attrition of members to the club? We think that it's somewhere around 10%, or it has been over the last 5 years. So on average, we've probably lost 30 members a year over the last 5 years. And the next question, what is the current membership count by category? And I think John has that answer somewhere right here.
Currently, we have 405 members, and I'll break that down by category. That doesn't include 21 suspended members. So we have 345 golf members as broken out. Local 81, in-state 41, national 182, retired 41, social 44, and honorary 16, for a total of 405.
This is a question that's already somewhat been answered, but I'll read it anyway. The MFG deal was originally a $20 million purchase, and it was reduced to an approved $16 million. It was actually $15 million. But they never made it through due diligence, which is correct. The stated reason was that MFG changed their strategic direction, which is also true. Their board of directors decided to cancel the deal. They didn't want to have a golf course in North Carolina. That was the board of directors. Rumor was that MFG came back with a $10 million counteroffer that was rejected by the board. That is absolute truth. Did MFG, in fact, offer $10 million? Yes, they did. It was not considered. It was not approved by the membership. They had already had one offer that was approved by the membership, and the deal that they came back 33% less was not one that we would consider. What is the full value of the Colony 9 offer? I can't give you the exact number because there's a lot of liabilities and bills that they're evolving. We don't know exactly what that number is, but it would be somewhere between $11 and $12 million. The next question concerns employee liabilities, and it's talking about future sexual harassment claims and lawsuits. I don't know what will happen in the future. There are currently no sexual harassment lawsuits on the books. Is that right, John?
Can I just add to that?
Yes.
There was a specific claim that we had. We disclosed that more through the MFG process, but that matter has been closed.
I got one question I was told not to answer because I asked the question. In this one question, they're asking about a definition of what constitutes the right or the votes by the different categories. We have 3 different categories of votes that will be done if we indeed do go forward with the Colony 9 deal. That would be the membership, and I'm not going to attempt to answer that question. John, you can tell us exactly what the percentage of vote that would approve the deal. For members, non-interested members, I know what FCI is.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Picard because he's the expert when it comes to legal matters. I'm certainly not an attorney, but it's fairly a 2-part process in terms of what would be required for the club to approve a sales transaction. So, Mr. Picard, if you wouldn't mind.
You can come up here if you like.
No, that's okay.
Now, come up here. There's.
All right, it's exactly the same as the MFG deal. 2/3 of the FCI members holding shares would have to approve the deal. A majority of the members of the club would have to approve the deal, and a majority of the so-called disinterested members, meaning those people that are members of the club that don't own an interest in FCI, would have to approve the deal. So there's 3 separate votes.
Is it a simple majority?
The simple majority of the last category. And there's also a formula with the membership part of it. It's the lesser of 2/3 or a majority, 2/3 of the people who show up for a meeting or a majority of the actual members. So it's the same thing as the MFG deal. If you want to refer to those documents, that's the way they will go. Okay, are there any other questions on that?
You can see why it's first one.
We've answered that one. So that was all the questions that I had that had been emailed to us concerning FCI and Forest Creek Golf Club. So I'll open the floor again to anyone. Yes. All right, hold. Just a second. Debbie's going to bring the microphone, and this will happen through this part of it and also in the open session. Stand up, state your name, and then the question. And
My
then,
name is Brent Vogel, and I wanted to just verify if you guys end up buying this and it's approved. Well, it's approved. Okay. What is the situation with the undeveloped lots? I understand that goes to Forest Creek Realty. Is that correct? As far as selling them?
selling them, that's actually a Colony 9 question, all right, rather than Forest Creek Golf Club. I don't want to answer for Earl on that. Other questions? With no other questions, that's going to close this part of the FCI meeting. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Second? We are adjourned. The next part of this meeting is going to be Colony 9, who most of you know Earl Ellis is heading up this. He is going to get up and talk to us about what he envisions and what he plans for Forest Creek. Most of you have seen the information that's been sent out. It's fairly thorough. He's here to stand up and tell you face-to-face what he's going to do. But before he does that, Larry Gorell is going to read. Okay, all right, you're going to read the letter? Say again. Okay, Earl, would you like to read this letter? Okay, come on. Earl Ellis, everyone. I think all of you received the frequently asked questionnaire in the packet. That we had a lot of questions that had been sent to us earlier that we thought everybody would want to know the answers to. And I think the answers that they gave are very well thought out. I mean, it's what the club has been asking for. So, Earl, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you.
And let me say this: when we do that, he'll ask for questions later after he does this. We're going to make this as simple as possible. You'll be given the microphone to ask the question. You'll stand up, state your name, ask the question. We will take the microphone away. We're not asking for speeches or lectures or anything else. It's just going to be a simple question and answer session.
Thank you. For those that know me, I'm unaccustomed to being up in front of everybody. I always manage to finagle to get Larry or John to get up and make a speech, but I guess I'm trapped today, and so here we go. I am very excited about this whole project. I'm hoping that when we finish that you will be equally as excited. Tom Fazio is very excited, and I'm going to have Larry walk up here in a second and read a letter that we just got from him today. Bobby McCann, who is chairman of the board of UBS North America, I've known for 35 years. He is, we're obviously very, very close friends. He is very successful. He is extremely interested in not only being a part of this, but also having a hand in running it. And so he is not just a name. So a couple of people wrote letters and said, you know, is this just a window dressing? Well, neither one of these guys are window dressing. Tom has said that he wants to be here. He's going to oversee everything we do. And one of the things about having a club like this is that you've got to maintain your integrity. And a lot of clubs across the country, the golf chairman puts in a bunker or takes out a tree or whatever, and immediately the integrity of the architecture is gone. And Fazio built this place. He was given, it's one of the few times he's ever been given a piece of land and told just to do what you think's best. And but he is going to be here. He's going to be in touch with us. He couldn't be here today, but you will meet him, or if you don't already know him, you will meet him shortly. At any rate, Larry, would you?
Borrow your microphone. Okay, working? So, as Earl said, Tom could not be here today, but he wrote this letter that he wanted to have read at this meeting. It's a little bit long, so hang in, but I think it's important. Dear Forest Creek members, Forest Creek is one of the elite golf experiences in the U.S. and a club in which I am sure each of you take great pride. I was very fortunate the Meyer family selected me as their golf course architect, and it was a wonderful experience working with the family on such an outstanding piece of land. I was given carte blanche as to the majestic rolling sand hills I used to build both the north and the south courses. Not often is this the case in the world of development. I've also enjoyed watching the club mature with the additions of world-class facilities, including the top 10 men's locker room and the stately new clubhouse where I own a suite. Because of my long-term relationship with the Meyer family and with Chuck Cordell, Forest Creek has always felt like my home club. From the planning stage to construction of the courses, infrastructure and buildings, countless hours have gone into making Forest Creek the premier club it is today, and one I am certainly proud to be a part of. I've been given the wonderful opportunity of becoming an investor in your outstanding club and have decided to join Earl Ellis and Bob McCann Group as a part of the potential ownership team. I've always considered Forest Creek at the top of my accomplishments as a golf course architect and look forward to spending more time there while personally overseeing the renovation programs of both the north and south courses. I will certainly look forward to helping evaluate the short and long-term needs and vision of the courses and surrounding property. I realize the unique challenges the private club business faces today. We will need a united team effort from every member in order to attract new members who will become part of the Forest Creek family. As one of the owners, I'll be striving to do all I can to promote Forest Creek and help bring it to the pinnacle of private clubs in the world. Merry Christmas to all. Tom Fazio.
Very good. We should be proud of that. He's a good guy, and he's probably the best in the world. Not probably, he is. We want to get back to where we were. We want to. All of us are going to have to work together if we do this, and we're going to have to put a lot of differences aside. We've had everything but locusts and frogs for the last 3 years, and so at any rate, we've got to get together, be a club, and we just got to stop a lot of the stuff we've done in the past, and hopefully we'll all come together and get that done. Moving along to the deal, explaining the deal is two parts to make it simple. Part A is the club. We are the total debt is $6.2 and a fraction million dollars, and you have a list of what that debt entails. All of that debt will be eradicated at close, and in addition, $2 million is being set aside for the golf course. And this, the first thing that we're going to do is, and it will happen on day one or week one, whenever weather permits, we're going to redo the bunkers. And this is for you people that are into golf, you know about Billy bunkers, and is that the name of them? Better Billy, and not just Billy, they're better. So And then the cart paths, which are abysmal, need to be all fixed, and then we're going to do the bridges. That will all be probably about $1.3 million as a guess, and then we will get to the other projects. There were things that we've talked about in the past. Last summer, everybody wanted to regrass to Bermuda because it was so hot, and this summer the greens were gorgeous, and so those kind of decisions will have to be taken as they come, just to whatever the demand is. So Part B, which is the real estate piece, is we are paying $4.68 million, which works out to be 50 cents a share net, no expenses. All the commissions are paid by us, and then we will have 180 days to pay that. And one of the questions is going to be, why are we taking 180 days? I have talked to some financial people, and my primary guy told me if we could wait, that we might look at some sort of financing with the interest rates and so forth. So we may, in fact, if that doesn't happen, we may in fact pay that earlier. If you'll, well, you don't have Exhibit J, but I'm going to read. So I need some light, but I'm going to go over representations to the members we've got here, and this is, let's look at what we want to make Forest Creek. This is what we want to end up with. The new club will remain private, and we will increase controlled guest play to make better use of our underutilized facilities. Now, that's not $35 in a beer. This is, we know, thank you. We know, we'll know everybody that's on the grounds. If you look out here especially in the afternoon, we have a totally underutilized asset. Perhaps it will help with membership, but this will be high end, and it will be top dollar. Now, this is obviously, if you have guests, we're talking about apples and oranges. I'm talking about if 8 foursomes came in here and played, they would be paying $200 plus to play and have lunch and so forth. The accessibility of the golf courses to the members it's not going to be. We're going to see that's not going to be affected. This is not going to happen on Saturday. It's not going to happen on Friday. It's not going to happen during Masters weekend. This is going to be the off days and it will be something that our general manager and our director of golf will work out and make sure that it fits with what's going on and doesn't get in your way. All existing members will be offered at no cost membership in the new club, subject to a membership agreement that will be created shortly. And by the way, the membership, bylaws that will be created will not just be us, but will be overseen by a committee of 3 to help us make sure it's fair and we're not disadvantaging anybody. There will be no dues increase for 2 years. There will be no assessments. There will never be assessments. This is a for-profit venture, and if we can't figure out how to do it without assessments, then we shouldn't be here. Again, going back to the $2 million that we're spending, Fazio will oversee every penny spent. The sale of your membership, well, first of all, you're going to be able to join the new club and not have to buy property. And we are so confident that most members, when they join, it kind of throws them off track when you say, well, you got to buy a piece of property, and they go, oh. But we've seen that about 80% of the people that come in end up buying property shortly after they get here, but at least they don't feel like it was kind of crammed down their throat. So we're so confident that we think it will add to the pool of people that want to buy property, and it will actually help sales of the property. A piece of property is not needed even by people sitting here. If you want to sell your house and keep your membership, you can do that. Hope you don't, but you can. The membership still remains willable. You can leave it to your son, your daughter, grandson, whatever. One of the things that I like to mention, and it's kind of off the subject a little bit, but everybody needs to know about the legacy membership. And if you already know about it, just bear with me. But if you are a member of the club, and you want your son, your daughter, or your grandson, or your granddaughter to be a member of this club, all you have to do is call the office, and all they have to do is pay dues. If they're under 40, it's half dues. But we need young people. I think we have 3 people in this club under 40 years old. So that's a recipe for disaster if we keep going in that direction. So at any rate, just kind of keep that in mind. I've talked the POA. I've met with the POA. We have a great relationship. Everything is fine with them. Done everything I'm supposed to do, I think. And in conclusion, before we get to Q&A, I would just like to go back and say one more time, yesterday is yesterday. And we need to figure this thing out. We need to go forward. We need to, I get really tired of listening around town about Forest Creek this, and they're going under, but we're not going under. We do this deal, we're not going under. And we're going to have a great club, sound like Trump. But at any rate, we're going to have a great club, and we're going to do, Bobby and Tom and I are going to do everything we possibly can do to make this a fantastic place. So with that, I'll open it up to Q&A. Questions? Answers? Anybody have an answer? I can't see, so.
Again, what we're going to do, Debbie's going to come to you, stand up, state your name, and then the question. And then sit down.
Phil Keel, Earl, you indicated this is a for-profit venture for you, which means the only way you make a profit is by selling. What is your timeline, and how do you hope to get to?
We have absolutely no plans, thoughts, or anything about. I mean, I've been here 20 years, and for me to turn around and do something like that, I wouldn't do it. We have the membership has a first right of refusal, which goes through 2024, which is the U.S. Open date. And so we kind of put that in there to make, to know that if somebody turned around and for some reason or other we tried to sell the club, you would have the opportunity to come up and match anything we did. Yeah, it's for profit, but, without getting into a lot of details, people talk about a better, we could have gotten more for the club. You could get more for this club. You absolutely could. It's all a matter of revenue. But if somebody wanted to pay a lot of money, they're going to come in here and as Escalante tried to do 4 years ago, they're going to cut services and they're going to bring a lot of people in to play the golf course because that's the only way the asset throws off a lot of money. So the answer is we have no thoughts of that at all. I mean, this is not Apple Computer. I don't expect to make, I hope, as I told my bookie one time, all I want to do is break even. I need the money. So that anyway, I hope that answers your question.
So I'm trying to understand, Earl.
Your name?
Roscoe Tanner.
Doug Pierce, member since day one. So you're paying $6.8 million to cover the debt, and then you pay another 4.8 for the real estate. So 10 point something million is the number, right? 11 million.
Yeah,
So there's two different components: the real estate and the club.
correct.
And you can sell that real estate, which should be a good venture for you, I hope. I have no questions other than there's two different deals, almost $11 million. And good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Doug. Roscoe.
Other questions?
Robert Sebi. We sat here 5-6 years ago, and you sold us FCI. Great. We all bought it, and some of us bought into it. We did it. You guys had 4.5, 5 years. You resigned a year ago to make FCI work. Obviously, it didn't, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So I personally have a little bit of skepticism that Take Two or Plan B is going to work. So convince me.
When we, well, I'm not going to try to tell you I did a great job the last 5 years because we had some outside stuff that sort of got in our way. We in 2012 we devised a plan to raise enough money along with the people that converted their debt on this building to stop. We needed to raise $8 million basically, and we went out and told the story as you said, and we ended up with $5 million, and $5 million was the bottom number that we could get away with, that we thought we could get away with. We actually needed the 8, so we started with our foot in the hole. So it's just and actually 3 of those people. There were 39% of the club that invested. So, and my idea was if you don't want to invest, you don't have to invest. I'm not going to spend somebody else's money. We thought the model would work, and obviously for a lot of different reasons, it didn't. And I mean, I'll take part of that blame. I'm going to blame part of it on the economy. I'm going to blame part of it on the schisms that happened around here. As far as we were never from day one, a lot of us on the same page, and it had to do maybe with the fact that we had FCI and non-FCI, which was a problem, and we never envisioned it would be a problem. It's a troubled industry. We have the reason that we have a brochure that we're preparing right now that Debbie's doing, and the theme of the brochure is where is Pinehurst. And this is not geography, because we need to. People, when they hear Pinehurst, they hear about golf. They think about golf because the hotel always advertises on TV, and Pinehurst is an hour and 15 minutes from a nonstop flight to Paris every night, and London and L.A. and et cetera, et cetera. And we have to get out there, and we've got to find some different avenues to get to these people to tell them about Pinehurst. I mean, I can tell you there's not one person in this room, I don't think, that doesn't love Pinehurst. This is like one of the top 10 places to live in the country or in the world. As far as, we don't have fires, we don't have floods, we don't have alligators, which interests me a lot. And, right, and we're going to have money. We didn't have money in the bank then. And we are going to have money in the bank starting, because not only are we we're going to have $500,000 in the bank on day one. And we have a revolver of $500,000 which we're not going to use, and we will have. So we're starting money in the bank, no debt, and with a new lease on life as far as trying to get new members, get people in here. We're going to have a director. We're going to have a director of membership. And that director of membership will not only reach out to non-members, but maybe even more importantly, do maintenance work. Call, so-and-so lives in Minneapolis. We haven't seen you in 6 months. What can we do? Because our out-of-town members pay too much, okay? So we've got to figure out how to enhance their membership. And if we can convince them that what they have here, to be able to pick up the phone, have dinner reservations made, set up private dinner, bring guys down, we may comp something if they say they've got some legitimate people. But those things have to be they have to be imparted to the people away, and then you call them, follow up, how was it, what can we do differently, and so forth. So it's a lot of work, but we're going to have a director of golf, we're going to have a salesperson, and along with John, they will coordinate the tee sheet. There will be nobody on this property that we don't know their name, and we'll coordinate if there will be a sheet that will be passed to the managers, a manifest of who is going to be here this week, where we know who they are. We can say, hello, Mr. So-and-so, how are you? Welcome back. And so, that's the difference. I can't tell you whether the economy, the only thing I can tell you is that, as I said a while ago, there's nobody that doesn't think this is just absolutely fabulous living in this town. We got to figure out how to get that message to other people.
Other questions? Yeah, I can't see who you are. Oh, there.
My name is Barrett McGrath. We've been members here since 2008. My wife and I both came here in 2004 and found what was the most extraordinary, pristine experience we've ever encountered.
Barrett, this is a question only.
I know.
You're making a speech.
Okay, I think there's an
Question only, please.
John,
Barrett, I'm telling you, that's the rules. I'll cut it off.
why, if Earl is able to put forth and discuss his position, I think it's fair to be able to at least to raise a couple of questions in the context.
Questions are fine. That's all we'll limit you to, though.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Then I'll just go directly to my question.
Thank you.
And Robert started to touch on this. This club was turned over to you 5 years ago. At that time, there was a cadre of members much larger than FCI who had a different opinion on approach as to how we should go forward. You were unwilling to listen to that opinion at the time. Fast forward to recently, you went out, you sought out to engage Manchester. We got Manchester in.
I'm sorry, I did what to Manchester?
The effort was made under your leadership to seek a buyer, and that's what brought Manchester to the table. And Manchester began, it was not yet publicly disclosed to us, but they began to engage. You resigned from your chairmanship. Manchester made an offer that was resoundingly approved by both members and the FCI. And in that process, you were, I'm getting to the question, please. Okay. I want to understand why, when we invest on track record and we invest in product and service. The track record has been promises much of what like you made before that we're hearing again. And the track record of a dues increase that happened 2 years ago that's done nothing. Why is it going to be different now? And why should people invest in a management team who has a track record and a real estate function that has had a track record of absolute failure in the 5 years that this club was handed over to your watch?
Thank you, Barrett.
Barrett, I don't quite understand the Manchester piece. Why is that in there?
Because you all sought out to find a buyer last year, and that's what brought Doug in Manchester to the table.
Well, you're wrong. So I resigned from the board before Manchester showed up. The only reason that I was involved with Manchester was it was Chuck Cordell's contact. Manchester was a member here 18 years ago. I played golf with him. Ann and I went to his and Betsy's house a couple of times, and we were friendly with him. And when he got interested, he came to town, and I had dinner with him in February. And his plans in February, and I don't want to step on their toes, but he was talking about very comfortable with $22 million, and we can use the same lawyer, and I'm going to put $80 to $100 million in this place, and on and on and on and on. early on, I said, well, that sounds pretty good. But I didn't have anything to do with it. I wasn't on the board, and it went to them, and then it kind of went downhill from there. Okay.
My name is John Alexander. I was the leader of the board when Manchester came to us. I raised my hand before Earl stood up to simply say that Earl didn't have anything to do with the Manchester deal and its origination. It was brought to us by Chuck Cordell. So your premise about Manchester and the relationship with Earl is not correct.
Other questions?
David Ogden here. I was just curious what the goal is then in regards to total membership. And you mentioned about the marketing brochure and selling Pinehurst. So do you have a specific goal? If you want to get to 500 members or in that regard? And then from a marketing perspective, is there plans to offer special memberships to try to attract more people, or maybe you can shed some light on just the marketing side and the membership side?
Okay, the last question you asked, no, we don't have any deals that we're contemplating. The number of members, I've driven a couple of people crazy with this, but if you will envision an X, a big X, and as membership grows, by necessity, outside play has to go down because we don't know, we can't keep putting whatever on the golf course if our membership gets up here. My personal opinion, and this is just an opinion, is that I think that probably 600, we can go to 750, and I don't think 750 is going to fit in here, and especially if we have people that are in New York and Chicago and they move down here. And so it's kind of a wait and see number, but I can tell you, I think that my guess is around the 6 to 6 1/4, somewhere in there, and then we're gonna say, hey guys, we got enough, and yeah, we could sell more memberships. I could tell you that we're gonna get whatever but I got to live here, and we're promising you 100% effort. I'm not promising perfect, but I'm promising you we're going to give 100% effort to try to get perfect. But if that answers your question, I would just guess probably around 6. Leaves us a lot of work, by the way.
The document actually says 750 members, which is the same number that's in our current membership requirement.
Right. And it's also the same number as the number of lots. Now, that was a plan way back when. But we got a lot of people that own multiple lots and people that live here that don't own lots. So anyway, hopefully we'll line up at some point.
Other questions? Back to Link, I think. If you can be loud enough, you can stay right there.
She's coming.
She's coming back. While she's coming back here, I'm going to ask some internet questions that were sent in that Earl has answers to or has reviewed.
So, Link Melly, founder from way back. In terms of the buying entity, Colony 9, can you explain the genesis of that?
11, right?
Don't laugh. I love history anyway. There are 13 original colonies. North Carolina was number 9. I was looking for something different. I didn't want to get something that would be Carolina to Carolina, Carolina to State or Duke or whatever. So that was or Clemson's not North Carolina.
I wish that were. None of us are.
You want something here?
No, I think I do. Thank you. Other than planned improvements on the golf courses, do you plan any other major changes?
Thanks. Yeah, we were actually, I probably shouldn't say this because I don't want to get everybody. Bobby McCann asked me yesterday or the day before. He said, "Why don't we put in a par 3 course?" And I said, "Well, we really don't have room, but there's been a tremendous interest in the Cradle, which was put in over at the hotel and so forth. So, you know, one of the things that I thought about was that maybe we end up with a short 3-hole or 4-hole golf course with maybe some regular tees, but maybe some real short tees for little folks if we can get them down here. And other things, with the staff is totally in play. Nobody's leaving. Again, I told you that we're going to make 2 big additions. And what else do you think they were alluding to? Oh, a ladies' locker room. Okay. You didn't have to do that. I would say we were going to study that, but I think I might get a tomato thrown at me. Something will be done. I mean, Bobby wants to do it. He said we got to do something. So, you know, I can't tell you. There's so much on the plate right now. I can't tell you what, but I actually asked John the other day if back to, you know, taking the lower floor and doing something. Anyway, we're looking at it. We'll price it out, and it isn't forgotten. And I know it won't. My wife's in the back, and I know she's not going to let me forget it either.
With no board or committees in the future, how do you plan to get input from members on key decisions affecting us and you?
Well, the organizational chart is John Boozer at the top. So if somebody wants to complain about an overcooked hamburger or whatever, he's the guy. Obviously, he's going to have an open door policy. And, you know, again, we live here, so we're going to know, I'm sure, even though I don't want to, I want to just enjoy myself. We're probably going to hear about it, and we will respond. This is not going to be something where I'm doing it my way, and you know, that's the end of it.
Does the 2024 expiration date on the right of first refusal suggest that you plan to flip Forest Creek soon thereafter? No.
The only reason I put that in there is that it's the time of the open, and I just felt like I said before that things like that that go on ad nauseum, I think sometimes become a problem. But there's really no magic to that. It was my idea to do the first right of refusal, to try to give the membership some peace as far as you know, not selling it, and so no, it's nothing magical except, believe it or not, the open's coming.
Again, these are questions that we received over the internet. So, why did you wait until after MFG offered sales to pursue this deal? Did you previously approach the board with an offer?
The board and I talked in the spring, and we talked. I did not make a formal offer, but again, remember the Manchester deal started out wonderful, and then went downhill. So there was no reason. Once the vote was taken in July, they said, "Okay, great, it's done. What's done is done." I was not in favor of it, but you know, it's another thing that, you know, if you vote on it and you lose, you got to go away. So at any rate, that's the reason that we didn't do anything, because half of that time, or 3/4 of that time, we thought we had a deal.
Do you anticipate that there will be other investors in Colony 9? What is your criteria to become an investor, or is it only by invitation?
Invitation, and there may be a possibility of 1 more or 2 more people coming in, but at this point, the probability is probably low.
The next question is virtually impossible to answer, but I'm going to ask it. What are your specific plans for increasing membership? Do you plan to reduce the initiation fee?
no to the initiation fee, at least not any time in the near future. And I kind of covered that with the membership and so forth.
What about the increasing membership?
The increase what?
To increase the membership. Your plan to increase the membership.
Well, that's what we're going to have our membership, and we're going to do some. I think we used the word collateral in there, which a lot of people didn't understand, but we're going to do some point of sale stuff and try to interface with some pros in the Midwest and Northeast and bring people down and really, I mean, we've got some members like Pat Malampy and Bob Peel who have just been unbelievable about bringing people in, and we'll probably go back to them and try to get them to keep working. But we're going to talk to people, our members in Chicago. I keep saying Chicago, but and try and get them to encourage them into bringing guests down here. I mean, this is, if you think about it, if you think about the dues that they pay, and they say, oh well, it cost me so much around. When you have a you can't join a supper club in Chicago for $500 a month. You can't, or $600. You just can't do it. But you got an opportunity. You've got something that's an asset to be able to pick up the phone, have this club, have the chef, have lodging if you want it, and everything done for you. It's you know, it's an unbelievable deal, and that's the thing that we have to keep convincing them.
What are your specific plans for stimulating sales of the unimproved lots purchased from FCI? Do you plan to reduce asking price in light of many other lots listed for resale at very low prices?
The last part of the question first. Probably what we will end up doing, and we don't have anything in place yet because everything else has moved so fast, is that we'll probably be a buyer of lots. We've got to get, you know, it's crazy. We got lots for sale for $20,000 on multi-list, and you can't buy a lot in Southern Pines for less than $60,000 or $70,000. So it's crazy. It's part of selling and making people understand, you know, what we have. We're going to talk to. We've already put in motion to talk to a couple of high-end developer builders. And to come in and maybe make a bulk purchase. We have a section 19, which if you go down past Dr. Grimes' house and then take a right on Westwood, there's 40 lots in there that everything is done, sewer, curbs, everything, and we would love to sell that as one piece. Now, the odds are probably won't happen. We might sell half of it or something. But the one by one is kind of like Chinese water torture. We need to enhance our situation. We need stuff. We need some things that are built.
Is it your intention to sell the club if your plans are successful? If the sale is not now contemplated, would you sell the club anyway for a significant profit?
This is something that if you know me, you're going to believe it. If you don't know me, you're not. No, we have no plans to sell the club. I mean, again, I said a while ago, you know, this is not Apple Computer. You know, there's a fun factor in this. Bobby McCann is excited out of his mind, and so am I. And because it's going to be fun, and that's what we're hoping everybody else will have fun, and the answer is no.
Will the prospective sales professional, which is mentioned in the information, also be licensed to sell real estate for Colony 9?
Forest Creek Realty will be the agent for the 110 lots that we have. I will tell you that I just say that Chuck Cordell under the Manchester situation had $1.3 million commission. $1.3 million. Under our situation, he has $0. So he is going to continue to have that. He is an outside operator, and he will have the situation will not change. That's not to say that people that the other realtors can't come in here, and we'll try to. John, nobody knows this, but we've done for the last couple of years. John Boozer's we've had cocktail parties and a bunch of stuff for outside realtors. So we will try to keep that going.
Are you planning to hire a new CFO?
We are going to need something in that area, and I think it's probably a little bit soon to say whether it would just be somebody in advanced accounting or actually it would be a CFO. Pete Cryer was a big loss. He's still helping us out, and even though he's in Raleigh, but that's just kind of a decision we'll make a little bit later.
Please describe any specific plans for contemplated outside use of club facilities other than golf course.
How many more have you got, for God's sake? The club, obviously the golf course. We will have outside weddings here if they're sponsored, but that's what we've been doing all along. It's not something where somebody calls up and says, I've got, whatever. You're going to have to come through somebody, and we're not going to have it on Masters Weekend. We're not going to. It will again be situated where it's not going to be a big inconvenience for the club. But that's about all that. Other than
how about the pool and fitness center?
For 25 cents a swim or something? What? No.
I'm just reading. And a very similar question, please expand on your reference to non-golf course opportunities and what they might be.
Thought I just did.
Well, I said it was
Oh.
outside weddings. And
What we're going to have, we will have outside weddings if they're sponsored, yeah.
sponsored outside.
Yeah.
Who is the management team? Has thought been given to engaging an outside professional golf course management company to run the club?
No. Our management team it's in place right now. John Boozer was with TPC for 19 years, right? So he's well aware of what an outside entity would bring. And if it makes sense at some point to bring somebody in to look at things, and then we'll do that. But right now, it is what it is. You're laughing.
Why do you insist on retaining Forest Creek Realty as the exclusive representative of Forest Creek Property?
Well, I think I just covered that. But again, he has a listing. Forest Creek Realty has the listing for our 110 lots. The rest of it's up to whomever wants to use them or not use them.
What happens to memberships not associated with real estate?
Memberships, okay.
I think this is answered in all the documentation.
Okay, well, very simply, and some people have not really quite ever understood this. You can join the club and not buy property, so you own a membership. This membership is not worth anything until you connect a piece of property. That's the 750 deal. Now, you're fine. Somebody's moving down here and they're my age and they don't care, then it doesn't make any difference. But it's just like if somebody here wants to sell their house and keep the membership, that's fine. If they want to keep the membership, they still have that membership. But at some point, if they ever want to sell it, they got to go buy a little lot or something to put it back together again and then sell it. Otherwise, you got memberships trading, on the dark web, which is what we don't want. And that's what we've tried to avoid since Barton was here.
In other words, I'm going to paraphrase.
Yeah, fine.
If you own a membership, regardless of whether you own real estate, you keep that. If you want to sell your membership, you must have real estate.
Right, correct.
All right. This is the last one that I have on my list. MFG had planned to spend $3 million on the courses. This proposal commits only $2 million. We all agree that the courses need to be returned to championship condition, but what is the basis for the two assessments of what will be required? There's a 33% difference in scope.
You mentioned the word assessment in there, even though it's not in the same kind. No, I understand. I'm just kidding. Well, Manchester said they were going to spend, again, I don't want to go into that and too much into this, but they said they'd spend $3 million. They also said a lot of other things. We have $2 million that's earmarked. We're going to have a committee of 3 people that is going to be mutually agreed upon, that we're going to show. Remember, Fazio's on top. Fazio's running this, and that money is dedicated. It's got to be spent. We've already said that. And whereas the other was, you can attach any name you want to with it. It didn't happen. And it's like somebody coming and offering you $5 million for your house, and then say, no, that's not right. Well, you can't value your house at $5 million because that guy made you some goofy offer. But anyway, these are real dollars.
Understand what was proposed 2 years ago for $5 million worth of work versus what's going to be done now for 2 years.
The $5 million that was a 5-year budget that was put out. It had CapEx budget. Sorry, that had to do with half of that budget was wall-to-wall irrigation, which is our double rows that go down. This golf course is 20 years old. That one's 12. Is that right? Yeah. And at some point, those are going to have to be, the PVC piping will start to corrode, not corrode, but get weak, break, or whatever. And then that has to be done. But that's not something, that isn't something you do until it's broken. And so that was half that budget. And the other part of it were the greens, which we're still open to looking at the greens. I mean, as I said a while ago, this was a beautiful year for growing grass, and I think if I said we're going to go to Bermuda right now, 80% of the room would say no, but what? 90%. But some of that budget was anticipatory. It was what are we going to need in the next 5 years? Really, what we could need would have been so, but that's changed.
Back 2 years ago, there was a discussion about green complex irrigation really being kind of out of sorts. Is that one of the big spots you were thinking about?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him specifically about that, but where that would really come into play is that if you were going to do the greens over, because you wouldn't want to do the greens and not do the irrigation. And of course, that's different from the mainline irrigation.
Earl really having a hard time answering that question. I don't think he would, simply because he is giving Fazio basically carte blanche as to what will be done on the golf courses. He says he's going to spend $2 million. We think it'll be a lot more, but that'll be on him. I have finished with all my questions that were on the internet, so I'll open the floor one more time to the floor. Mary? Debbie, I'm going to give you back the microphone. Hold on, Mary. We've got everybody online. We've got maybe. We had as many as 65 people online. We've got 40-something now, so they can't hear unless you're off.
I'm Mary Clunan. My question is, what is the plan, the process going forward as far as information distribution, voting, and so on?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What is the process going forward as far as information distribution, voting, timing?
You want to answer? All right.
Yeah. We're still working on documents. which we think will be done by Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Maybe Thursday. Our plan is to mail everything on Friday. The rules require a 10-day window for voting. Our anticipated plan, this is not written in stone, but our anticipated plan that the voting will be December the 27th. We will call another meeting once we know for sure when all the documents are finished and we can get that 10-day window in. I'll be happy to say that too. If we have the meeting on the 27th as we have planned, Earl and Colony 9 has committed to closing the deal by December the 29th, before the end of the year. Any other questions?
John Sheridan. Earl,
hey, John.
I think the club, my personal view, we're very lucky to have somebody with the passion you've had and all the things you've done over the years that help this club. I think it's ironic and I think it's unfortunate a couple of questions or speeches ask what you did 2 years ago or 5 years ago as though you did something wrong. And I think you're right to put the entire focus going forward. Sorry, John, it sounds like a speech, but here's the question. So in that context, the members have got to play a key role in the success of the club. And the members probably let the club down a bit in the past. Do you have an ask for the members as you think of going forward with this venture? How can the members help this become a bigger success with the new ownership structure?
I touched on it before, and I don't want to sound like a Baptist preacher, but first of all, we got to come together. I'm sorry if it sounds corny. We have been too split. There are too many factions. You know, did you sign the letter? Did you vote for pull carts? Did you do? I mean, you know, we're all on the back nine, most of us, and we got to act like we're on the back nine. I'm sorry, JD. I beg your pardon. But we got to act like we're on the back nine. If we need to band together. You know, families can have squabbles. But when you get on the outside, if somebody, you know, you go to Southern Pines and somebody says something about Forest Creek, they're knocking your family. You know, I don't want to hear all that stuff, and I don't think any of us want to either. So the first thing is just kind of, you know, my deal with everybody is I'm going to give you 100%, and we're going to give you 100%, and you know, if you do that, we'll get it done. I mean, and you see people that are here that you don't know, and they you know, look approachable. Go and introduce yourself. Tell them you're glad they're here, and when our northern members come down here, they don't stand up on the practice tee and listen to somebody talk about, you know, something they don't like or something, because they go, what are you guys are retired in Pinehurst and you're griping? I mean. So, and again, I tell you, I honest to God mean this. This is one of the finest places in the country to live, weather and everything else. And it's just we first just appreciate what we've got, bond together, talk to our out of town members, and we'll get it done. It'll grow. I promise you. The real estate is right on the bottom right now, and all this is about to get better. And you know, and I hate to say it, but we got a lot of catastrophes that are happening around the country, that are the stuff in Florida and all down the coast of South Carolina. There have been a lot of people that are rattling around North Carolina looking for a place to live because they want to get away from that stuff. The alligators. I hate alligators.
Any other questions? One, Morris. Right behind you.
My name is Morris Smith. I just have a question about the voting. I understand there's going to be 3 separate votes. Are you going to have this? You have to get approval on all 3, or just 2 of the 3?
All 3.
All 3. Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Earl, I'm Jim Lewis, 2081 year member. Earl, you mentioned this would be a for-profit
business. Just on the outside chance that for the first year or two, you might actually lose some money. Are you prepared to, if necessary, to suffer some losses?
I hope not, but yes, yes. No, I didn't mean to be cute, but yes, we are.
Robert Sedevy again. Two quick questions. One to Earl, one to the board. Does Fazio have skin in the game, or is it just simply a figure?
Yes, he does have skin in the game. Bobby and I are, might as well tell you this, Bobby and I are equal partners. And I don't go into percentage, but we're equal partners, but Fazio has skin in the game.
Okay. And now to the board. When we looked at the Manchester deal, there was no plan B. I think that was a problem, and I expressed my opinion back then. Is there a plan B now, or is the club dead if we don't do this deal?
Yeah, come December the 30th, we're going to fall over. No, we'll run the club just like we're running it. Hopefully we'll sell more lots and more memberships, but the club is a very viable club. Other questions?
And do you have a question?
Ask him why he's doing that at his age.
No more? Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We will be sending out documents, we're hoping, by Friday. Once we send the documents out, we'll also send everything out electronically. We will implore the DocuSign, just like we did on the Manchester deal, so you will be able to vote from home. Other than that, we have a Christmas party scheduled here Friday, 4 o'clock? 6 o'clock for the Christmas party. Oh, 6 o'clock Friday here for dinner and good tidings. I hope all of you will come. I'd love to see every one of you here. Other than that, the meeting is adjourned, and I hope you have all a Merry Christmas. And dinner tonight. We have dinner tonight, too, and it's ready. Thanks, babe.